Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ऑल गुड्स assembled devotees. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यो मनोभीष्टं स्थापितां येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकां. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साधुवेतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभासुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Everyone can see the screen? Mataji's can see from there? Everyone can see? Great. So today we are very fortunate to hear about pastimes of Lord Ram. So Ram Navami went just a couple of days back. So we'll just see some important pastimes of Lord Ram and see what teachings we can derive from them for our own benefit. So not just a story, but we'll try to derive some lessons from the activities and the instructions of Lord Ram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, before we start the description of the pastimes of Lord Ram, so why it's important to hear about the names, qualities, forms of the Lord, and why it is important to describe those names, qualities, and forms of the Lord. So actually, Srila Prabhupada explained in a lecture given in 1969. So Ramachandra's life, God's activities, pastimes. If we hear, that means we are associating with Ramachandra. There is no difference between his form, his name, his pastimes and himself. He is absolute. Therefore, either you chant the holy name of Ram, or you see the statue of Ram, or you talk of his pastimes, transcendental pastimes, everything that means you are associating with the Supreme Personality of God. So we take advantage of these days when the incarnation of God appears or disappears, and we try to associate with Him. By His association, we become purified. Our process is purification. Krishna consciousness means simply we are purifying our consciousness. So here we can see Srila Prabhupada is very nicely explaining that by hearing these pastimes of Lord, of different incarnations of Lord, and also the pastimes of the activities of the devotees of Lord, we are actually purifying our consciousness. And basically, what is the result of purifying our consciousness? So then we can actually solidly establish ourselves in devotional service to Krishna. So if we are in a contaminated state, like if we are under the influence of the material modes of nature, so it's actually very difficult to practice Krishna consciousness. So by hearing these pastimes regularly, we will at least come to the mode of goodness. So even though we are not in a position to transcend material modes and go to the Brahman platform, but at least we will come to the mode of goodness, and then all lust, anger, envy will be subsided, and then we can actually very peacefully absorb ourselves in these pastimes and make further progress. So, so all the devotees here, including myself and everybody, so most of the time we can see that we are working in the office, we have a family. So if we analyze our whole day, we are mostly in the modes of passion and endurance. And it's very difficult to chant the names of Lord in modes of passion and endurance. And it's very easy to observe also. For example, if you are chanting your japa, Hare Krishna Mahamantra japa in the morning hours, in Brahma Muhurta, it's very easy and it's very pleasing and it's very tasteful also. But if you try to chant in afternoon or in the night after taking dinner, it's almost impossible to chant any one round also. It's very difficult to chant. So we have to make use of the morning hours, for example, and actually try our best to keep ourselves at least in the mode of goodness throughout the day. So don't worry about Shuddha Sattva and high transcendental platform. That will automatically happen by Krishna's grace. But at least we can do from our activities to place ourselves in the mode of goodness so we can peacefully chant the names of Krishna. And by hearing the Krishna Katha, by hearing the Ram Katha, by hearing the pastimes of Lord Ram, it becomes very easy. So you, in the morning if we hear Bhagavatam or we absorb ourselves in the Kirtan, then it becomes very easy to stay in the material mode of goodness for the rest of the day at least. Now, about who is Lord Ram first we'll see. So basically in Bhagavatam it is said, Avatara hi asankhyeya hare sattva nidher dvija yatha vidasinah kulyaha sarasah siyu sahasrashah. O Brahmanas, the incarnations of Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from the inexhaustible sources of water. So basically, we can divide the incarnations of Krishna in 6 different forms. So we have Leela Avatar, Purusha Avatar, Guna Avatar, Shaktavesh Avatar, Manvantara Avatar and Yuga Avatar. Now let's see how many incarnations are there. So obviously we cannot count them. In this verse it is said, just like it is impossible to count the waves of an ocean. See, waves come and waves go, right? Waves come and waves go. Can anybody count those number of waves? It's not possible. Infinite waves are coming and going. So that verse that we just discussed, it actually says that the appearance and incarnations of Krishna are like the waves of ocean. So they are coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, and it's not possible to count them. So just take an example. So we will only talk about Manvantara Avatar and the Yuga Avatar. So Manvantara Avatar, so we have 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. So one day of Brahma, so I've done a basic calculation. We will not do this calculation here. It will take a lot of time. So basically we are talking about approximately 5 lakh Manvantara Avataras in the life of a Brahma, which is 100 years of Brahma. Now talk about Yuga Avataras. So we have one in each Yuga. So in this Yuga we have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So basically we know from Bhagavad Gita that there are 1000 ages comprise one day of Brahma, and similarly 1000 ages comprise one night of Brahma. So if you do that calculation, so 4000 in one day of Brahma, so around 146 million Yuga Avataras in actually lifespan of Brahma. So 146 million, only the Yuga Avataras. And we are talking only about one universe, our universe. We know from scriptures there are infinite universes. Now just imagine, infinite, in just one universe, it's impossible to calculate the avatars of Krishna, incarnations of Lord. So just see, infinite universes are there, and there's a Brahma in all the universes, the Manu is on the universes, and all the Yuga avatars, Manvantara avatars in all the universes. So it's practically impossible to even estimate the how many incarnations Krishna actually comes. And now you see, so what is the purpose of all those incarnations? Why Krishna is incarnating again and again? So we know from Bhagavad Gita, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So when the dharmasya glani happens, it means that whenever there is a deviation in the principles of execution of Krishna consciousness, at that time Krishna appears. So we can understand how many times Krishna is appearing for just for our own benefit, just to remind us of our eternal position as a servant of Krishna and take us back home, back to Godhead. So this alone shows, this just one example shows the merciful nature of Krishna, that he's just coming again and again, again and again, again and again, and teaching us Bhagavad Gita. The devotees of Krishna teach us Bhagavatam, and they teach by their examples, like we'll see in the pastimes of Lord Ram. So just by, so we can understand how merciful is Krishna. So his only ambition in taking all these incarnations is to just tell us, oh, wake up, come back to me, come back to me. So we say, right, Jeeva Jago, Gaura Sundara Bole. Right? So we have to wake up from the lap of witch of Maya. So this is the main purpose of the Krishna's incarnation. There are many other purposes, but this is the also one of the important purposes why Krishna incarnates ages after ages and comes again and again, again and again, again and again. And you see merciful nature of Krishna. At the time we fell into the material world, Krishna is sitting in our heart as Paramatma since that time. So he is the best of our friends. So we don't know Krishna, but he is sitting with us life after life, life after life, life after life, and telling us, please turn to me, please turn to me, please turn to me. You will be happy. So, why are you going away from me? Please turn to me. He's just trying and trying and trying endlessly, hoping that one day we will turn to him. And even if we don't turn to him, he will just continue our association life after life till we turn to him. So thus we can understand from this simple example how merciful the nature of Krishna is and how concerned Krishna is to take us back home, back to Godhead. He cannot see us suffering here. See, there is a very nice example given in this regard. See, we are like a feast in Krishna. So just like we have a plate in the Krishna's feast. So Krishna is having a feast and we are like different items in his plate. Now assume if you go to the Sunday feast like here and you only get chawal, rice, right? And you're waiting for other items to come and nothing else comes. Only rice comes. You ask Prabhuji, no dal, no sambar, no sweet, no puri, no sabji. No, Prabhuji, only rice today. So will you be happy with the feast? No, right? So we need variety. So similarly, Krishna also needs variety in his loving exchanges with the devotees. For example, the rasa that you have with Krishna, I'm not talking in general, you have with Krishna, nobody in all of existence can provide that rasa to Krishna. So by you not being in Krishna's association, Krishna is missing your rasa. It's not that if you are missing, Krishna can create a clone of you and enjoy the rasa. So each and every person who is in the material world, Krishna is missing that particular rasa with that living entity. So just like Krishna is having a nice full plate of feast, and gulab jamun is missing. So Krishna is enjoying the feast, but he's missing that gulab jamun also. Right? So you are that gulab jamun. So our position, nobody can take our position in providing that rasa to Krishna. So we are not replaceable. So by we are having here, trying to enjoy separate from Krishna, Krishna is not happy. His feast is not complete. So we want to complete his feast. So that's why we want to go back to Godhead and we want to encourage whole world to go back to Godhead. So his plate can be complete. So we can see how the mercy of Krishna incarnations. Now we see about Lord Ram. So where the incarnation of Lord Ram is mentioned in Brahma Samhita. Ramadi Murtishu Kalani Amena Tishtan Nana Avataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramah Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Ram, Narsimha, Vamana as his subjective portions. So here in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma is saying we saw that verse also. There are infinite incarnations of Krishna coming, but some of these are principal ones. Like Ram, Lord Ram, Varaha and Narsimha, they are the principal incarnations of Krishna. So we see the incarnations about the mention, how Lord Ram is the incarnation of Krishna, we see from this verse of Brahma Samhita. So basically here for example, Prabhupada says, not only Ram, but there are many other innumerable incarnations. They are compared with the waves of a river. As the waves of a river or the waves of ocean cannot be counted, similarly, how many incarnations are there of the Supreme Lord, it is not possible to count. But out of them, the principal names are mentioned in the Shastras, and Lord Ram is one of those principal names. Therefore, it is said Ramadi. Ramadi means Rama and also other many incarnations. And one thing is, it's not that the incarnation comes and goes like a human being. Like we take birth and we die. Incarnations are eternally existing. So it's not that the Lord Ram appeared on this planet in Treta Yuga and then he went back and now there is no Lord Ram. It's not like that. Lord Ram is eternally existing. Narsimha Dev is eternally existing. All the Vishnu Tattva incarnations, they exist eternally. So that's why we call them incarnation. Avtarit hue means they come here and they go back. It's not that they come here and they then disappear. So that is not incarnation. So we take birth and we die. But Krishna's incarnations are eternally existing. So Lord Ram is there in some universe and he's also there in Ayodhya in Vaikuntha Dham. He's also there. So similarly Narsimha Dev, all incarnations are eternally existing. So it's not that if we don't see them on this planet, it doesn't mean that the incarnations are not there anymore. So now we'll see some of the basic pastimes of Lord. So this is the history of Lord Ram, like ancestry. Son of Maharaja Khatvanga was Dirghabahu and his son was celebrated Maharaja Raghu. From Maharaja Raghu came Aja and from Aja was born the great personality Maharaja Dashratha. Being prayed for by the demigods, the supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth himself, directly appeared with his expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the son of Maharaja Dashratha. So, basically we know Lord Ram is a Vishnu Tattva. There is no difference between Lord Ram and Krishna. So, incarnation doesn't mean there is a difference. So, we can understand this by this example. Because Krishna is like a original candle. We have a candle, right? A lit candle. And if you light a second candle from the first candle and place them side by side, can you differentiate which is the first candle and which is the second candle? So similarly, if you have a room full of candles, it's hard to say which is the first candle, which is the second candle, which is the third candle. They are all equally illuminating. So it's like that. Though Krishna is the original candle, original personality, so Lord Ram in his opulences and his features and activities, he's non-different from Krishna. He's a Vishnu Tattva category. And not only Lord Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna, they also belong to the Vishnu Tattva category. So we should not actually minimize that because Lord Ram came as a human being on this earth, he is one of the human beings. So that's actually a great mistake and offense. Lord Ram, even though, and same for Krishna, even though they are exhibiting the pastimes of a human being on this planet, they don't actually lose their position as a supreme personality. Now we take an example of boar incarnation, right? Varaha incarnation. He became a boar. Now if we see a boar outside, so we just hate it, right? So he's still eating pig. And we see Matsya incarnation. So when Krishna assumed those incarnations, that did not mean that he became anything less. He was equally potent in those incarnations as Varaha, Matsya, all these incarnations as he is in the original form as Krishna. So we should not assume that when the Krishna incarnates, he actually loses some of his potencies. All incarnations are equally potent. Now we see a very important thing. This is just a beginning of Ramayana. So basically, I've taken this discussion from the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the summary pastimes of Lord Ram have been mentioned. So it is said, carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramachandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residence and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. Now you see what happens there. The whole in Ayodhya, before a coronation of Lord Ram as a king, a big festival is going on. All citizens are very happy that tomorrow Lord Ram will become the king of Ayodhya. They all loved Lord Ram so much with their heart and soul. And obviously, Lord Ram was also kind to the citizens. So it was quite natural that Lord Ram will become the king of the Ayodhya. Big festival going on. Everything is happening. So Maharaja Dasharatha calls and says, no, you cannot become king. You have to go to forest with the. You have to go to the forest. So if you see, right, it's a shock. Take our example, for example, right? I'll give a mundane example. Assume you are in office, say as a director, in a director position, and you come to know very soon you will become a CEO of a company. You are very happy. You will become a CEO of a company, and your package will be say multi-crore rupees. Very happy. Your friends are congratulating you. Big party is happening. Your family is happy. You are very happy. I'll do this. I'll do that. And a day before you become CEO, you get a phone call from your director, board of directors, that you are fired. Just imagine the catastrophe that we'll go through, right? All the celebration happening. I'm about to become a king, and CEO is nothing as compared to king, right? CEO is a tiny, mini thing. You are about to become a king, emperor of the world, and you are called the day before and told that now you have to go to the forest. So, and what did the Lord Ram say? He said, yes, I'll do that. There was no argument, no question that he said, no, no, Pitaji, no, father, not now. Let me become king. After a few years, I'll go. No. As soon as his father told, Dasharatha told, you have to go to forest, he told, yes, I'll go to the forest. So this here, we see two important qualities of Lord Ram and how we can imbibe those qualities. The first of those qualities is renunciation. So as we can see, there are 6 qualities of personality of Godhead. So we have Aishwarasya Samagrasya, Virasya Yashaha Shriya, Jnana Vairagyasya Cheva, Shannamiti Bhagam Gana. Aishwarasya Samagrasya means complete opulence. Virasya, strength. Yashaha, name and fame. Shriya, beauty. Jnana means complete knowledge. And Vairagyas means renunciation. So when we, so in short, if we want to describe a person with these 6 qualities, so that is person is named by Parashar Muni as Bhagavan. So when we say Bhagavan, it actually means the possessor of these 6 qualities in full. So that's where the name Bhagavan came. It was actually given by Parashar Muni, a father of Vyasadeva, to actually to give a name to a Lord, to indicate that he possesses all these qualities. And here we see one of the qualities is renunciation. He didn't bother that he has to become king, or he will become opulent king, or other so much opulence will be there. He just said, yes, father, I'll go to the forest immediately. And then he actually goes to the forest. So if we see, we learn a principle of renunciation from just from the beginning of the pastimes of Lord Ram. And we'll see second quality also sometime later. So now let's see how we can apply it to our life. If we analyze things psychologically, if we analyze things philosophically, so renunciation means giving up something, right? You have something and you give it up. Now let's analyze what we have actually. So can you claim that this world, this planet, land, seas belongs to us? Can anyone claim? No. But Krishna claims, he says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. In Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Krishna says, Sarva loka maheshwaram. I am the master of all the planets and the kings thereof. So Krishna claims that he is the master of everything. All the lands, all the seas, all the waters, all the oceans, all the forests, all the mountains, and whatever we can see. Okay. I am not the owner of all. At least my family, car and house, that I am the owner. But you see, are you really an owner? So if we analyze, those ingredients are not created by us. It's just that they are temporarily in our possession. That much you can claim. The house where the land where your house is, it was already there before. Somebody else, the owner was that land. Someone constructed the house, and now you became that owner temporarily. And after our death, say after 100 years, somebody else will construct a house there and he will become a owner there. So if we analyze this philosophically, so we see we are actually not a real owners of that also. So let's go to next step. At least my body. I am a pakka owner of my body, right? At least my body, I am the owner of that. But what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddheshi arjuna tishtati brahmyan sarva bhutani yantrarunani maya. Where he says that I as, I as Paramatma in sitting in the heart of all the living entities and causing them to wander in the vehicle of body made by Maya. So here Krishna says this vehicle that we are sitting, it's like a car. The body is like a car and we are like a driver. So this car is manufactured by Maya and that too under the supervision of Krishna. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. That's what Krishna says. Under my direction, the material nature creates all moving and non-moving things. So if we analyze that, the body also does not belong to us. Okay, now the only one item is left. Soul, myself. At least I belong to myself, right? Nobody can take that position. So I belong to myself. I as a spirit soul belong to me, right? But what Krishna says, that is also not true. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiv Bhuta Sanatana. Mame Vamsho. Each individual soul is my part and particle, my part and parcel. So we are part and parcels of Krishna. So as we analyze this, we realize actually nothing belongs to us. Even we as a soul does not belong to us, we belong to Krishna. So what is there to renounce? So this is now but we know that renunciation is a very important quality. But if we don't have anything, so what is there to renounce? So now we understand what is actually Vaishnavas mean by renunciation. So this is explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. He says, Anasaktasya Vishayan Yataharam Upayunjita Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagya Muchyate. And the other verse is, Prapanchi Katya Buddhya Hari Sambandhi Vastuna Mumukshibihi Parityago Vairagyam Falgu Katyate. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated about possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. So basically we have to understand, as nothing belongs to us and we just saw everything belongs to Krishna. So the true definition of renunciation is, by Krishna's grace, whatever we have got with us, temporary ownership, if we can use them in the service of Krishna, then that is true renunciation. So let us take an example. So we are here we are building a big temple, right? So that needs crores and crores of rupees. If you ask a normal yogi and sannyasi who is not a devotee, he will say, no, I don't touch money. I have renounced money. But here we are collecting money from people to build the temple for the Lord. So money itself, so here actually Rupa Goswami says, so the previous sannyasi who is renouncing the money, who is giving up money, is not rightly situated in renunciation. But the devotees of Krishna who are accepting the money and using that money in actually building a beautiful temple for Krishna, they are rightly situated in renunciation. So we have to understand the definition of renunciation. The renunciation does not mean giving things up. The renunciation means, by Krishna's grace, whatever we have got, if we can use them in the service of Krishna, we are rightly situated in renunciation. So this is the position of renunciation. Say for example, I have a car at my home, right? If somehow or other, if we can use the car in the service of Krishna by say taking the devotees, dropping the devotees, or for any reason, right? Then we are actually situated in renunciation. So if we see a devotee, and devotee is say a rich devotee or a opulent devotee, does not mean that he is not in renunciation. If we are using whatever we have got in the service of Krishna, then we are rightly situated in renunciation. So this is called as a Vaishnava renunciation, and it's called by Rupa Goswami as Yukta Vairagya. So we have to try our best. It's very easy to practice it. To establish in renunciation, we have to see how to actually start using things that we have in my possession temporarily. How can I use them in the service of Krishna? It applies to our money, it applies to our family, it applies to our house, it applies to everything. Say for example, in my house I have my family. How can I engage in my family? How can I engage my family in the service of Krishna? So if we start thinking like this, then we will be rightly situated in renunciation. So this is what is meant by true renunciation. Renunciation does not mean give up. Renunciation means engaging everything in the service of Krishna, realizing that the true owner of everything is Krishna. If the true owner of is Krishna, then we have to engage everything in the service of Krishna. So that is called as a renunciation. So that one thing we learn from Lord Ram, that how to be a renunciate. Now a question arises, it's too easy to say, right? Engage everything in the service of Krishna. Now how to actually practically implement that? How to actually reach that platform of renunciation? So that is also mentioned in Bhagavatam. It says Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janyatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chaya Dahetukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So basically, we don't have to do any special exercise or any gymnastics or any yoga to become a renunciant. What we have to do, we have to become a sincere devotee of Krishna. If we do our devotional activities very nicely, very sincerely, then the quality of renunciation will automatically develop. It's not that we have to endeavor separately to achieve that. Endeavor for Krishna consciousness, everything else falls in place. This is the basic thing. There are so many qualities of a devotee, but if we just endeavor for pure Krishna consciousness, all these qualities will fall in line. Same applies to renunciation. Though we have to make an endeavor, because we have not reached that stage of pure Krishna consciousness, we are somewhere in neophyte state only. So we have to endeavor to achieve that quality, but we have to understand this principle that if we try to become a pure devotee of Krishna, the quality of renunciation will automatically develop in us. So now the second quality which I didn't mention in the slide is very important for our Krishna consciousness, and that's obedience. See, Lord Ram did not object to Dashratha. When Dashratha said, go to the forest, he said, yes, I'll go to the forest. So this is obedience is a very, very important quality for a devotee to progress in Krishna consciousness. Say for a senior Vaishnava or a spiritual master says, do this, then yes, Gurudev, I'll do it. No, if and but, I am busy and I have my job and I have my family and this and no. If he says, you have to do this, yes, I'll do it. This obedience will take us to the much advanced position in Krishna consciousness. So it's a shelter, initiation and obedience. If we don't have obedience quality in us, then initiation has no meaning. Initiation means that now we are completely sold out servant of our spiritual master. So when we get an instruction from a spiritual master, or when we are getting an instruction from a senior Vaishnava, so we have to take that instruction on our head and say, yes, thank you very much. You considered me appropriate to follow that instruction. I am not qualified, but I'll do it. So this obedience quality is very, very important quality to actually progress nicely in Krishna consciousness. So we see from this just one first instance itself of Lord Ram, when he says, yes, I'll go to forest. So we see two qualities of renunciation and obedience. So now we'll see some Ram Katha again. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramachandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, headed by Khara, Trishira and Dushashana. Now this started the enmity between Ravan and Lord Ram. But actual reason was the next verse. O King Parikshit, when Ravan, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramachandra from his ashram, Ravana sent Maricha in the form of a golden deer, and when Lord Ramachandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. Now, when Ramachandra entered the forest and Lakshmana was also absent, the worst of Rakshasas, Ravan, kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of King of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus, he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to woman. So, this is a very, very important instruction we are getting here. So, here if we see last two lines again, Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus, he showed by his personal example the condition of a person too attached to a woman. Attached to a woman. Now, there is one secret here in this pastime. If we analyze right, Mother Sita, she is the eternal consort of Lord Ram. It's not possible like some tiny miny demon like Ravan can touch Mother Sita. That's impossible. So what happens in that pastime is when Ravana gets hold of Mother Sita, what he actually gets is Maya Sita. So she gets a form of Sita made in the material nature. So here Prabhupada says in the purport, it was actually impossible for Ravan to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravan was an illusory representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. And when the Sita was tested in the fire later, this Maya Sita was burned and the real Sita came out of the fire. So basically, Ravan actually did not kidnap Sita only. What he kidnapped was Maya Sita, an illusory representation of Sita created by material energy. So when we see that Ravan has kidnapped Sita, so we know deeply, actually nobody can capture Mother Sita. She is the eternal consort of Lord Ram, so she always stays with Lord Ram. No one can take Mother Sita away from Lord Ram. So what we saw here was that the Maya Sita went with Ravan, and when in the end the Agni Pariksha happens, at that time the Maya Sita gets burned away and the real Sita comes out of the fire. So this is a little secret which many of the people outside don't know. Now in this pastime, right, about the bereavement of Lord Ram over the loss of Mother Sita, there is a major instructions for all of us. So there are three things we learn from here. Attachment to women, children, family is always troublesome and cause of one's downfall. So we'll elaborate on that later. But first let's understand the Lord Ram's position. See, Lord Ram is the reservoir of all pleasure, right? If he wants, he can create many Sita Devis from himself for enjoyment. So loss of one Sita Devi, why he was so much bereaved? So actually it is said in the Shastras, so that bereavement, the separation from the beloved is actually kind of a spiritual bliss. It's called as a Vipralamba. So similarly, just like the devotees experience a bliss while being separated from Krishna, so similarly Lord Ram was actually experiencing a bliss while being separate, so-called separation from Mother Sita. So from the spiritual point of view, it was not troublesome. It was a source of a spiritual bliss for Lord Ram, and it's actually very advanced form of devotional service in conjugal love, which is called as a Vipralamba. Enjoy a bliss in separation. So that is what the Lord Ram was actually experiencing. And same we see Radharani and same we see when Krishna got separated from Radha. So at the time what Radha was experiencing was a transcendental bliss of Vipralamba with Lord Ram. So what we see the condition of Lord Ram is a bereavement. We should not see that from our own material point of view, that he is also sad like us. So there is a natural tendency, right? Oh, Lord Ram is also sad, I am also sad, so what is the difference? No, there is a difference in the sadness. One is spiritual sadness and others is a material sadness. So at the spiritual level, also there is a separation, but that separation is actually called as a Vipralamba, and it's a source of spiritual bliss. So it's wrong to assume that Lord Ram was actually under any sadness or any other depression because of separation from Mother Sita. He was in a transcendental bliss. So that is the position of the devotees of Krishna, and that is the position of Krishna himself. So whenever they separate from the devotees, the so-called separation, the expression of the soul of separation is actually a source of bliss, immense bliss. And that we see from the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya also, that while expressing the separation from Krishna, he exhibited so much symptoms of transcendental happiness and bliss. So we should not compare the bereavement of Krishna and the devotees of Krishna onto our platform. Our bereavement is a real bereavement. but their bereavement is on the spiritual platform. So now, so the first point here we learn is attachment to women, children, family is always troublesome and cause of one's downfall. That is actually very true, that he showed by an example that attachment to a family is actually very troublesome. So we'll see what the attachment means and what the solution is. Everybody goes through this problem. So let's first start from the brahmacharya. How many of here are not married? 1, 2, okay, 3, 4. So basically this is from the purport where Prabhupada says, to protect the devotees, the Lord not only satisfies them by his personal presence, but also teaches them so that they will not fall down from devotional service. Now see the underlined part, which I have underlined there. By his personal example, Lord Ramachandra taught the devotees that it is better not to enter married life, which is certainly followed by many tribulations. So, point is this: if you are a brahmacharya, and if you can, in the association of devotees, follow the austerities and vows of brahmacharya ashram, then that's actually a very good position to progress in Krishna consciousness. So you don't have to worry about your livelihood, maintaining your family, changing the diapers of your son, earning money and all those things. Full time, 100% you can engage in Krishna consciousness. So, but it is only possible if you have a strong association of devotees in Krishna consciousness, because the vows of brahmacharya is not easy to perform. So don't think that I will become brahmacharya just like that. So you have to stay strong in the association of devotees, and then if you are able to follow the vows of brahmacharya, it's actually very great benefit to the whole movement and for your own benefit also. I cannot say our, because I am a grahastha also. So if you can stay, if all the unmarried devotees, those who are singing and dancing here, right? If they can stay by the association of devotees, each other's association, they can stay in brahmacharya ashram, then that's actually a well-placed ashram to progress in Krishna consciousness. But it actually does not mean that grahastha ashram is a disqualification. No, that's not true. At this time I'm saying the relatively brahmacharya ashram, if we can manage that, then it's actually well placed for your progress in Krishna consciousness and spreading our movement. So we see from example of Harisheta Prabhu, Achyuta Prabhu, right? All the brahmacharya devotees, how sincerely and with dedication they're full time 100% engaged in propagating the missions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now we talk about grahasthas. Obviously we are grahasthas now. Most of us are grahasthas, including all the Matajis, right? They are all married. So no, nothing can be done. We cannot become immediately brahmachari again. So what is our solution then? What's the solution for grahastha? As I said before, grahastha is not a disqualification to progress in Krishna consciousness. And if we see many examples, like Pandavas were grahasthas, right? And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he himself was grahastha. Before taking sannyas, Prabhupada himself was a grahastha ashram in before. So we can see Prahlad Maharaj was a grahastha, Bali Maharaj was a grahastha. So if we count right, all the exalted devotees we see. So we have 12 Maharajanas. If we count the list, how many of them were grahasthas, we will find most of them were grahasthas. So it's not that the grahastha devotees cannot become pure devotees. Grahastha ashram, see, all ashrams are meant for progression in Krishna consciousness, and grahastha is not a disqualification. But the point is, now in our situation, we have to take care of family, we have to take care of job, we have to take care of wife, children, everything. Then how to become Krishna conscious? It's a big challenge happens. So the same question was asked by Yudhishthir Maharaj to Narada Muni in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the end, Narada Muni was describing how brahmachari, how vanaprastha and how sannyasis, they achieve liberation. He was explaining that. Now when this was finished, Yudhishthir Maharaj asked, now what is the position of grahasthas like us? How can we get liberation? So in the last 2 chapters of that 7th canto, Narada Muni explains how a grahastha devotee can actually achieve liberation and go back home, go back to Godhead. So I just took 2 verses from that thing, so which actually summarizes that conversation. So Shrunvatan Bhagavato Bhiksham Avatara Kathamritam Shraddadano Yatha Kalam Upashanta Janavrataha Satsanga Shanakai Sangam Atmajayatmajadishu vimunchena muchamaneshu swayam sapna vaduttita. A grahastha must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus, one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. So basically what Narada Muni says that if the grahasthas, if we can engage ourselves in nicely in about hearing and chanting about the glories of Krishna, engaging as much as possible in devotional service, then that detachment automatically comes. Just like renunciation automatically comes, the detachment from the family also automatically comes. So here we have to understand one important point is for grahasthas, detachment does not mean that you give up the family and go away. That is not detachment. So detachment actually means attract everyone in the family to Krishna. Make see, see we know that we need to have loving relationship with the devotees. How many of you agree we need to have loving relationship with devotees? Yes. So so let us make our family devotee. So then we can have loving relationship with the family. So we don't need to have detachment from the family. So detachment from family actually means bring all the family members to Krishna consciousness, then you have attachment with the family members on the basis of Krishna. But attachment without Krishna is cause of downfall. So if attachment, when Krishna is in the center, if that attachment is there, it's cause of liberation, and attachment without Krishna is cause of downfall. So when we say detachment from the world, so it's not practical in our days, in our life, to actually just leave the home and go away to the forest. Practically there's a forest only now. So we cannot go to the forest also. So here it actually means make everyone in the family Krishna conscious. Do whatever you can to make your family Krishna conscious. And then you exchange loving relationship with the family, and then the whole family becomes Krishna conscious, and all of them go back home, back to Godhead. Then nobody has to take sannyas, nobody has to give up the family. So this is the instruction for grahastha, and how to achieve that? Engage as much as possible in hearing the qualities of the Lord. Here we say two things. Associate with the devotees. We see here the first line. A grahastha must associate again and again with saintly persons. Devotee association number one. And number two, with great respect means attitude of hearing. Not just I am a great knower, how can you teach me? No, attitude of respect. He must hear the nectar of the activities of Supreme Lord and His incarnations as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. These two things, basically hearing Krishna Katha in the association of devotees will automatically take us to this platform of detachment from the family life and helping us attaching everybody to Krishna consciousness. So that's how actually how actually a grahastha can learn detachment from the wife and children. So detachment from wife and children means making them Krishna conscious. And same applies for Matajis as well. If family is not Krishna conscious, do whatever you can to attract them to Krishna consciousness. And don't think it's impossible. It may be difficult in beginning, but eventually it will be possible. It's not impossible. Prabhupada says impossible is the word in the Fool's dictionary. So if we stick to our Krishna consciousness very seriously, then everybody else will easily come into Krishna consciousness. See, we have to understand, in these days, our family members, nobody is Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu gave so much trouble to Prahlad Maharaj, right? Nobody in the family is Hiranyakashipu. They are also a very struggling soul, suffering in the cycle of birth and death. They also want happiness. So, but the problem is, we think they are Hiranyakashipus. That is our problem. They are not Hiranyakashipus. We think they are Hiranyakashipu. So, so just by our little compassion and our guidance and our behavior, our example, we can attract everyone to Krishna consciousness, and that includes our family also. So here, I think I'll only take at what time you have to close the class? Huh? 10:30 is fast. So 15 minutes I can take more. 15 minutes, 10:45. Thank you. So here, now we continue to the next pastime. Now, Lord Ramachandra is searching for Sita in the forest. He has no idea where Sita has gone, who has taken the Sita. Now he finds Jatayu. So here it has been talked about Jatayu. Lord Ramachandra, whose lotus feet are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, had assumed the form of a human being. Thus he performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu, who was killed by Ravana. The Lord then killed a demon named Kabanda, and after making friends with the monkey chiefs, killing Vali and arranging for the deliverance of Mother Sita, he went to the beach of ocean. So now we see the character of Jatayu here. Jatayu gave his life in the service of Krishna. Jatayu was a bird. He did what he can to prevent Ravan from taking Sita away, and he gave his life. Similarly, we see Lord Jesus Christ, he gave his life in the service of the Lord. So you see, these are acharyas. They are teaching us by example how to give up everything in the service of Krishna. So Jatayu is a very, very advanced devotee if we see in that manner. So giving up one's life in the service of Krishna is not an easy thing. See, we cannot give even 1,000 rupees in the service of Krishna, right? He gave his life in the service of Krishna. So just imagine, so even if we do a little devotional service, Krishna is highly appreciative of that. So but somebody gives his life and soul and fully engages in the service of Lord, how much Krishna is obliged to that devotee. In this particular case, in this particular case, Lord Ram assumed the role of a son of Jatayu and performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu, treating him like his father. So that's what we learn from His Grace Jatayu, that how to actually engage our whole life and soul in the service of Krishna. So every pastime in Ramayana has a deep meaning for us. So just like Jatayu, it's not a story, right? A bird saved Raman and is good, is fine. It's like Bollywood movie, everything is happening. No, we have to understand he gave his life. So what was the necessity for Jatayu, right? He could have just lived his life happily. No, but he gave his life in the service of Lord Ram. Now that, in such cases, Krishna becomes highly, highly obliged. And same applies to Lord Jesus Christ. I gave an example. And we see in the life of Haridas Thakur, he took so much beating in the 21 marketplace just because of Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj, he took so much chastisement and difficulty in the service of Krishna. So these are the examples, these are the acharyas who are teaching us what is actually advanced devotional service. So it's not that we also give up our life in Krishna consciousness and actually. So basically the whole idea of this is, whatever best we can do to serve Krishna, we should be aspiring for that. It's not that today go outside and stand in front of car and die and oh Krishna I have death. Okay, not that. So do the best you can in the service of Krishna without holding anything back. That is a surrender. When Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, he is asking for a full surrender. So in that full surrender, whatever best we can achieve in the service of Krishna, Krishna becomes highly obliged. So that was the position of Jatayu. So now, in the interest of time, I will cut short some pastimes. So now we know that the Lord Ram was standing on the ocean and actually waiting for ocean to come up and give Lord Ram and his party way to cross over the Lanka. But ocean did not appear. The personified ocean, right? See, here is also another mistake happened. Ocean thought Lord Ram is a human being like not him. He is a common human being. So when Lord appears at Krishna and Ram, 99.9999% of population think that he is a common being like us. Only a very few populace like Pandavas, Bhishma Dev, Narada Muni, only these exalted personalities can understand that Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead in the form of a human being. Everyone else thinks that he is a common man. And same that ocean, where we can see where Lord Ram fasted for 3 days and waited patiently for the ocean to give the way, ocean did not came. But then Lord Ram became angry, and with that anger, all the aquatics in the ocean started to burn, and then the ocean realized, my God, what mistake I have done. And then he came with a folded hand. Oh Lord Ram, it's my mistake. Please forgive me. Then he asked in this verse, I won't read it. In this verse he asked, Lord Ram, my ocean waters do not present any impediment to you to crossing over. You can easily cross over. But just that, the people actually remember your exalted activities and actually remember your exalted pastimes. I request you to construct a bridge on the ocean. So people will remember that, oh, here is a personality of Godhead who did something impossible task like constructing a bridge on the ocean. So that was the only reason why Lord Ram actually constructed the bridge on the ocean. Otherwise, he could have, with his party, could have just flown to the Ravan, Alanka, right? If Hanuman can fly to the Ravana, why Lord Ram with all the Vanarsena cannot fly? He's a supreme personality. But just to exhibit that he is the supreme personality. See, this is one of the qualities of incarnation of Lord. In their incarnation, they exhibit some pastimes which is very, very uncommon. See, we see Lord Krishna raise the Govardhan hill in just one finger. Uncommon pastime. He killed so many demons. Uncommon pastimes. Lord Krishna married 16,108 wives. Uncommon pastime. And with each wife, he was staying with all the wives at the same time simultaneously. It's not that he एक wife के साथ एक दिन, and after 16,000 days, number of that wife comes again. No, he was staying in 16,108 palaces, each day with each wife having different pastimes. And we see Narada Muni, he gets bewildered when he sees what's happening actually in Dwarka. So that's a topic for some other day. So here we see uncommon activities of Lord. So if someone claims to be incarnation, so just by raising hand and producing some gold is not enough. They have to do something like this, which is truly uncommon, like raising a Govardhan hill, showing a Virat Rupa form to Arjuna, which Krishna showed in Bhagavad Gita. So if somebody claims to be incarnation, so you ask him, okay, show me a Virat Rupa, or show me any uncommon activity like this, like build a setu, like Ram Setu you build, then I will believe you, right? So this is how actually the incarnations are also mentioned in Shastras, and by their activities they show that they are incarnations, right? So it's for us, so we don't go and see that, oh, here is a very exalted, I'm sorry, not exalted. Here is a person out there and some institution here and there is a very well-known personality, he's a god, I am God, you are God. No. When God comes, I'm not taking name. Prabhuji is laughing because if I take a name. I'm not taking name today, Prabhuji, okay? So if anybody claims to be God or God-like, just assume they're bogus and just go away from there without wasting our time. Very simple. Because if you are a God, then show us something like this. Build a Ram Setu or lift a Govardhan hill. See, we cannot even keep this small glass on our finger. What to talk about Govardhan hill? And show your Vishwarupa. Easiest to show your Vishwarupa, Prabhuji. No, not Prabhuji. Show your Vishwarupa. I'll believe you are God. It's so easy to defeat these rascals who say that I am God. So it's very easy to defeat them. So here we see that though there was no necessity for Lord Ram to construct a Ram Setu, he constructed it to establish his position as a supreme personality of Godhead. So now the another thing which comes is, when we see everybody is taken by surprise how the stones can float on the water, right? So they wrote a Ram and the stone is floating on the water. That's too amazing, and most of the people don't believe it. That's also not difficult to believe. If such giant planets can float in the space, Earth and Jupiter, they can float in the space, what's the problem with some small stone floating in the ocean, right? Is it difficult for Krishna? If Krishna can make these planets float in the space, how many of you agree that Earth floats in the space? Everybody agrees, right? If Earth can float in the space, why that small stone cannot float in the water? So there's nothing great actually in Krishna's pastimes where in Lord Ram's pastime that the stone is floating on the water. It's no uncommon activity actually. It's something very small thing for Krishna. So now we see bridge got constructed and everyone went to the Lanka and the great war started. So army of Lord Ram, monkeys, and their weapons, stones, mountain peaks, trees, plants, bushes, creepers. And the other side we have Ravan, enemies, and, and their weapons like bows and arrows, proper gada, laces, and whatever modern day equipment we can think at that time, all weapons were there in the party of Lord Ram. Oh, so sorry, Lord Ram. Oh, sorry, Ravan. So now we see the war started. Angada and the other commanders of the soldiers of Ramachandra faced the elephants, infantry, horses, and chariots of the enemy and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs, and arrows. Thus, the soldiers of Lord Ramachandra killed Ravana's soldiers, who had lost all good fortune because Ravan had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. So, now here we see actually very, very important points. So, this will be our last discussion. So, here. So, three important points we learn from this past time. First we'll see. First we'll see who were the soldiers in the army of Lord Ram. Vanar Sena, all monkeys. No big what's like if you see the battlefield of Kurukshetra, so big warriors were there. Here there are Vanar Sena, all monkeys. Now the point is this: anybody can become a devotee of Krishna. We don't have to be an exalted personality in terms of material estimation to become a devotee of Lord. Even monkeys can become devotee of Krishna, as we see in the example that Lord Ram accepted the services of those monkeys to become his army to help him conquer Ravan. He did not take help from the big leaders. He took help from the monkeys, and they were completely sold out in the service of Lord Ram. So that's a very, very important point. Nobody is disqualified from Krishna consciousness. It actually does not matter you're rich or poor, good looking or ugly, educated or uneducated. It does not matter. All these qualifications are superficial. What matters is devotion to Krishna. Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhi janati yavan yash chasmi tatvata tato mam tatvato nyatva vishate tadanantaram. Only by devotional service I can be known, and thus by knowing me as such, one enters into the kingdom of God. So Krishna in many places says he is not happy with the yogis or the tapasvis or ascetics or danis or anything. What he wants is devotees. So it actually does not matter whom you are, whether high parentage or chandala or a brahmana parentage. It actually does not matter. Krishna accepts each and every one in his service, provided we are sincere in the devotional service. Everyone is accepted in Krishna consciousness. That is one of the qualities of our movement. Everyone is welcome in Krishna consciousness. No one is barred from Krishna consciousness. Everyone is welcome. It does not matter high class, low class, upper, middle, rich, poor, educated, uneducated. No, it does not matter. Everyone can come, everyone can sit here, dance and chant and take prasadam together. No bar. Because Krishna does not make that distinction. So because here it's mentioned, one cannot establish a friendship with Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities. Only by devotion he can be accepted. So this I'll skip. And you see, if you see right, Ravan was not a tiny Rakshas. He was in the same category as Hiranyakashipu. Just like the whole universe was fearing Hiranyakashipu, Ravan belonged to that category. So it's quite obvious his army will be also a world-class army. His army will not be a very small army. Then how is it possible for monkeys to defeat the army of Ravan? It's not possible. Monkeys cannot defeat an army like army of Ravan. Nobody can defeat Ravan. But by the mercy of Krishna, everything can become possible. So this applies to us also. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yar dekha tar kaha Krishna upadesh, Amara adnya guru haya tari desh. Whomever you meet, instruct them in the teachings of science of Krishna. In this way, become a guru and deliver the people of this land. So now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, deliver the people of the land. It can be interpreted as deliver your country or deliver the world. And Prabhupada says, I am giving instruction to all my disciples to deliver the world, to make whole world Krishna conscious. You see, practically that is impossible. It's getting very hard for us to get up in Mangal Aarti. How can we ever possibly deliver the whole world, right? We are not even to get up for Mangal Aarti only. And so difficulty in doing our japa. How can we possibly deliver the world? But that instruction is there. So basically, if monkeys can defeat the army of Ravan, so we the soldiers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada can also make the whole world Krishna consciousness, whole world Krishna conscious, provided we are also dedicated like those monkeys. So if we take Krishna consciousness as our life and soul, like those monkeys took service to Ram as their life and soul, so even though it seems impossible to make the world Krishna conscious, we can, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we can achieve this impossible feat. So we have to become like monkeys of Lord Ram, completely dedicated to the service of Lord Ram, and then the miracle will happen. And here, one important point is because Ravan offended Mother Sita, that was the cause of his doom. So we cannot offend a Vaishnava, we cannot offend a devotee also. So that's an important point we have to remember, but we don't have time to discuss in detail. So basically, so there are actually two kinds of strengths in Krishna consciousness. One strength is called a transcendental strength, Deva strength, and one is our own strength. With our own strength, we cannot do much in Krishna consciousness. But when Krishna gives us strength, then we can do miracles. Only thing is we need to be becoming like those dedicated monkeys of Lord Ram. Then the miracle will happen. And then that statement like, Yar deka tarakaha Krishna updesh, Amara adna guru hai tari desh. Before Prabhupada went to the West, everybody thought that what Lord Chaitanya actually meant was India only. Because everybody assumed it's not possible to go out of India to spread Krishna consciousness. So before Prabhupada went out of India, everybody interpreted that verse to mean that Lord Chaitanya actually meant India. He did not mean the world. So, but now we see by the mercy of Prabhupada that what actually Lord Chaitanya meant and what Prabhupada did, and it can go to the against step like it can include the whole universe. My spiritual master says it includes whole universe. So he asked this question to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj that when when Prabhupada says deliver the world, what does the world mean actually? Does it mean this planet, my country? So Jayapataka Swami Maharaj replied, let's take care of this world first, this planet first, and then Krishna will give intelligence how to handle the universe. So let's take care of this thing first. So we have to rely on the strength of Krishna. We cannot do anything in ourselves in Krishna consciousness. Only thing we can do is a very sincere devotee of Krishna. And then if monkeys can kill Sena of Ravan, we can also kill all the demons of Kali Yuga and help everybody to become Krishna conscious. So I think it's a lot of things. So we'll just, I think it's already, I told 10:45, it's finished. So I thank you everybody for coming here for the Sunday Peace program. So the only thing we have to learn is just become a sincere devotee of Krishna, and then by Krishna's grace, all the good qualities will manifest in us, and then we can bring about a revolution in the world. We daily pray for that. We say, Bahe Narsimha, Ridhaya Narsimha. Don't we pray that? We pray, right? What does that mean? Prabhupada, it's actually Ridhaya Narsimha and then Bahe Narsimha. If we can bring Narsimha within, we can bring Narsimha without. So that's the true meaning of Bahe Narsimha and Ridhaya Narsimha. So let's bring Narsimha Dev within to kill all the bad propensities in my heart so I can bring peace to the whole world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.